You're at the grocery store. Regular Tuesday. Nothing special. You grab a block of cheese, the same cheese you've been buying for years, and you freeze. Not because something happened, but because the price tag says $14. $14 for cheese. And in that moment, something weird happens in your brain. You start doing math. Not big math. Small, embarrassing math. Like, do I really need cheese this week? And here's the thing. You make good money. Like, actually good money. 6 figures maybe. Or close to it. You're not supposed to be standing in a grocery store questioning cheese. But here you are. And the worst part? You look around and everyone else seems fine. They're just grabbing stuff, tossing it in the cart, not even looking at prices. Meanwhile, you're having a mini existential crisis in the dairy aisle. If that hit a little too close to home, stay with me. Because what I'm about to break down isn't some generic budgeting advice. I'm not going to tell you to skip your morning coffee or start a spreadsheet. That's not the problem. The problem is way bigger. And honestly, it's not even your fault. See, most people think feeling broke is a math problem. Make more money, feel less broke. Simple, right? Except it doesn't work that way. I've talked to people making $50,000 who feel fine, and people making $200,000 who check their bank account before ordering dinner. The money isn't the issue. Something else is going on, something nobody really talks about. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Before we dive deep, quick note. Nothing here is financial advice or investment recommendations. This is just me sharing a perspective, a way of looking at things that changed how I think about money. Cool? Cool. I'm Dom, by the way. And if you stick around for the next few minutes, I promise you'll walk away seeing your money completely different. Not in a guru way, just in a that actually makes sense kind of way. So if that sounds useful, hit subscribe. Seriously. Because I make content like this specifically for people who are tired of feeling behind even when they're doing everything right. All right, let's get into it. So let me tell you about my friend Mike. Mike is a software engineer, makes about $130,000 a year, lives in Austin, no kids. From the outside, Mike should be set. But last month he told me he couldn't go on a weekend trip because he was, quote, tight on money. 130 grand. Tight on money. How does that even happen? Here's how. When Mike made $60,000, he drove a Honda Civic and lived in a one-bedroom apartment. Normal stuff. Then he got promoted. $80,000. Suddenly the Civic felt old. He upgraded to a nicer car. Leased, of course. Payments weren't crazy, but they existed now. Then he hit $100,000. Time for a real apartment, right? Something that matches his success. So he moved. Rent went from $1,400 to $2,400. Still affordable on his salary. Then he hit $130. New wardrobe because he's meeting with executives now. Better restaurants because he's dating someone and wants to impress her. Nicer gym because the old one felt beneath him. Every single raise Mike got was kidnapped before it even arrived. And that's not me being dramatic. That's literally what happens. It's called lifestyle inflation. And it's the silent killer of wealth for people who earn good money. Think about it like this. Your lifestyle is like a gas. And gas expands to fill whatever container you put it in. Small container, gas fills it. Big container, gas fills that too. Your salary is the container. Your lifestyle is the gas. No matter how big the container gets, the gas will expand to fill every corner, unless you do something about it intentionally. And here's what makes this tricky. It never feels like you're overspending. Each individual upgrade feels reasonable, feels earned. You worked hard. You got the raise. Why shouldn't you enjoy it a little? That's the trap. Because you're not enjoying it. You're just moving the goalpost. You're making more money to feel exactly the same as before, which is kind of insane when you think about it. But lifestyle inflation isn't the only thing draining you. There's something else. Something that didn't exist 30 years ago. And it's in your pocket right now. Your phone. More specifically, what's on your phone? Social media. Back in the day, like the 80s or 90s, you knew your neighbors. Maybe 10, 15 families. You saw their cars, their houses, their vacations, and that was your reference point. That's who you compared yourself to. And if you were doing about as well as them, you felt fine. Now you're comparing yourself to thousands of people, millions even. Every time you open Instagram, you see someone on a yacht, someone buying a house at 25, someone traveling business class to Bali, and your brain doesn't know these are highlight reels. Your brain just sees it and thinks, that's normal. Why don't I have that? Here's the brutal truth. You're not competing with real people anymore. You're competing with fiction. That guy with the Tesla might be leased, might be rented for the photo. That girl with the Chanel bag could be drowning in credit card debt. That couple with the perfect house, mortgaged to the ceiling with both of them stressed out of their minds. But you don't see that part. You just see the result, and you feel behind. I heard someone say this once, and it stuck with me. Comparing your finances to social media is like comparing your body to Photoshop. The game is rigged. You're using real numbers against fake ones. Of course, you're going to lose. Okay, so we've got lifestyle inflation working against you. We've got the comparison trap messing with your head. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because even if you fix those two things, there's a structural problem that has nothing to do with your behavior. Let me give you some numbers. In 1970, the average home cost about 2.5 times the average annual salary. Today, it's closer to 7 or 8 times. Healthcare for a family? Over $20,000 a year. Childcare? $15,000 to $25,000 per kid depending on where you live. And let's not even start on student loans. The average debt now is around $37,000. It was $10,000 in the year 2000. So when your parents say, well, I bought a house at 25, what's wrong with you? They're not lying. They did. But they were playing a completely different game. The rules changed. The prices changed. The math changed. And nobody updated the expectations. There's this weird zone in America. You make too much to qualify for any assistance, but you don't make enough to actually build wealth. Too rich for help, too poor for freedom. That's the middle-class trap. And if you're in it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're paying full price for everything: taxes, healthcare, education, housing. Meanwhile, you're watching the ultra-rich pay less percentage-wise because they've got accountants gaming the system. And you're watching lower-income folks get subsidies you don't qualify for. You're stuck in the middle, carrying weight on both shoulders, running fast and going nowhere. Now let me add another layer, because all of this would be hard enough on its own. But you're also fighting a war you didn't sign up for. The advertising industry spends over $300 billion a year in the US alone. $300 billion. And that money has one job: to make you feel like you need things you didn't know existed 5 minutes ago. You're not just seeing ads, you're being studied. Algorithms track what you click, what you pause on, what you almost buy. They know your weak spots better than you do, and they hit those spots over and over again. Buy now, pay later. Limited time offer. Only 2 left. People like you are buying this. Someone told me this once, and I think about it all the time. You're in a war and you don't even know it. On the other side is a team of 50 psychologists, data scientists, and marketers. On your side, just you, tired after work, scrolling your phone, one thumb away from buying something you don't need. The average American sees somewhere between 4,000 and 10,000 ads per day. Your grandparents? Maybe 500. You're not weak for feeling like you always want more. You're being engineered to feel that way. And this leads to the final piece, the thing that ties it all together: debt. Debt used to be shameful. Your grandparents' generation didn't talk about it because they didn't have it. If they couldn't afford something, they didn't buy it. Simple. Then credit cards became normal. Then car loans. Then mortgages got bigger. Then student loans exploded. And now we have subscription everything. Add it up. The average American carries around $300,000 in total debt. Student loans, car payments, credit cards, mortgage, and on top of that, subscriptions. Netflix, Spotify, gym memberships, cloud storage, meal kits. The average person spends almost $300 a month on subscriptions alone, some of them forgotten, auto-renewing, draining your account like little vampires. Here's how I think about it. Each debt is like having a mini boss. You think you have one job and one boss, but actually you have 15 bosses. Your bank, your credit card company, your car lender, your student loan servicer. They all want their cut on the first of the month. Every month. Before you can use your money for anything else, you have to pay all of them. You're not building your wealth, you're financing someone else's. Your grandfather saved for 2 years and bought a car with cash. You finance it for 6 years and owe more than the car's worth after 12 months. That's not progress. That's a trap with better marketing. Okay, so where does all this leave you? Here's the thing. The game isn't gonna change. The rules aren't gonna get fairer. Housing isn't going to magically become affordable. Advertisers aren't going to suddenly grow a conscience. The system is working exactly as designed, just not designed for you. So the only move is to stop playing by their rules and start writing your own. First shift. Wealth isn't about how much you make. It's about how much you don't need to spend. Read that again. The goal isn't a bigger salary. The goal is a smaller need, because freedom isn't about having more. It's about requiring less. Second shift. Stop buying status. Start buying time. Every dollar you don't spend on impressing people is a dollar that can work for you. It's a dollar that gets you closer to a day when working is optional, when you're not doing it because you have to, but because you want to. Third shift, and this is the big one. Define your enough. The system will never tell you that you have enough. That's not how it works. It needs you hungry. It needs you chasing. If you don't draw a line and say this is enough for me, the line doesn't exist, and you'll chase forever. Here's a practical thing I want you to do after this video. Look at where your money went the last 90 days. Actually look, not a guess, real numbers. Because I guarantee you'll find things you don't even remember buying. Subscriptions you forgot, purchases that made sense in the moment but don't anymore. Money that disappeared and you can't explain where. Then try the 72-hour rule. Anything that's not essential, wait 3 days before you buy it. If you still want it after 3 days, fine. But you'd be surprised how much you don't. The urge fades, the algorithm moves on, and you keep your money. And finally, figure out your freedom number. The amount of money that would make work optional for you. Not Lamborghini rich, just free. For some people, that's 500,000. For some, it's 2 million. Depends on your life. But having that number changes everything. Because now, you're not just saving randomly. You're building towards something specific. Look, I know this was a lot, and I know it might feel heavy, but here's what I want you to take away. You're not broken. You're not bad with money. You're not behind. You're in a system that is engineered to make you feel all of those things. And once you see that, you can start making different choices. The game isn't fair, but you can still win, just not by playing the way they want you to. All right, that's it for this one. If this gave you even one moment of damn, that's true, I'd appreciate if you hit subscribe. I make these videos for people who are done with the generic advice and want to actually understand what's happening. More stuff like this coming soon. I'll see you in the next one.